Mute myself. Good morning to all of you. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces, and it's just been way too long since I've gotten to visit Australia and New Zealand. And so, sending some virtual hugs to all of you, our Neo Life family. And thank you so much for being with us and giving us just the most valuable gift, which is your time. Now, we're already coming up on March. Isn't it crazy how fast the year is flying? So I'm not going to wish you Happy New Year, but I will say that the reason that we're here today is to start our year off getting together as a family, as a community, with new information and new insights and a new momentum so we can really make it the year we want. And so you can make it the year you want. And now the next hour or so, it's going to be power packed. And one thing I'm really excited is for you to have a chance to meet Dr. Susan Beck. She is our new Chief Science Officer and SAB member. And she's just an incredible lady with a lot of experience and just passion for our shared mission of giving everyone the power to live healthier and happier lives. And Neo Life isn't just a company. It's a community. It's a wellness community. And it's full of people who've recognized one really important fact, that we do have the power to live healthier and happier lives, that our health, it's not a lottery ticket. Your health is not a lottery ticket. It's not a matter of chance. It is a matter of design. And we are beautifully designed and wonderfully made. And the more we understand about that design, the more power we have to control what our health looks like, both now and in the future. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying bad things don't happen. They do. And a lot of times it's not our fault, but there's so much that's in our control. And so I'm really excited about the future, where we're headed. Together, we are going to be the single biggest force behind ending the trend of poor health and poverty. But before we get into that, I'd like to revisit the story that really started us down this path. And that is my father's story, Jerry Brasfield. And I've heard that there are some newcomers to the meeting, so I didn't want to skip this part. And so my dad grew up in a small town in the Central Valley of California, and it's called Porterville, a little baby farm town, the kind of place where you just see miles and miles of farms and orchards and agriculture. And I'm sure some of you have heard him tell this story before, of a particularly memorable experience, a near-death experience that he had when he was a young boy. And nothing cool like extreme sports related, but what it was is he suffered with really severe asthma and allergies and hay fever. And it was memorable because, especially this one time, because one night when it got really bad, he was sitting up in his bed just gasping for air, and he could hear his mother's voice in the next room telling him, or telling the family pastor, "I'm sorry to call you over here so late. I just don't think he's going to make it through the night." And so that's pretty scary, right? Thankfully, he made it. I am especially thankful because I wouldn't be here either. But can you imagine how that must have felt? Just helpless. Like back in the 1940s, there was no such thing as an inhaler. And his mom realized there was no modern medicine she could turn to. So by the grace of God, she discovered nutrition supplements, which it was a pretty radical thing to do at the time. It was seen as like woo-woo, hippy-dippy stuff, but that hippy-dippy stuff worked. And it's just amazing what the human body is capable of when you give it the right nutrition, the nutrition we're designed to have. And he went from sick, barely surviving, to becoming a pretty strong guy. And that is what gave him just this total unwavering belief in the power of good nutrition. And when I say he's a pretty strong guy, he is. Like, he actually had me when he was 50 years old. So that makes him 82 right now. And I can tell you, he made all the other dads feel pretty old because he never skipped a beat. We'd go surfing, race car driving, skiing. And today he's still doing all that and challenging people to push-up contests everywhere we go. I have to say, he even got a discount on a van that he bought because he challenged the sales guy to see who could do more push-ups. And the guy was like, "There's no way an 80-year-old can do more push-ups than I can." But he did. Anyways, he had this life-changing experience. And like we all tend to do, he couldn't help but tell people about it. And that's when he realized that most people are in need of better health, and they want better health, not just because they're sick, but because don't we all want more energy to look great, feel great? And my dad's always been a bit of an entrepreneur as well. And he was like, wait a minute, this is big. If I were to make nutrition products that really work, I can actually make a living and make a big difference in people's lives. And so that's what he did. He made it his mission to offer the best nutrition supplements in the world and give everyone the power to live healthier and happier lives. And so obviously he couldn't do this alone. So to accomplish this vision, he teamed up with some of the most brilliant doctors, scientists, and researchers in the world. And one of them, Dr. Arthur First, I'm sure many of you have met him in the past, just such an impressive visionary guy. For example, he founded the Stanford Chemotherapy Laboratory. He's named as one of the 10 most important innovators in the history of the University of San Francisco, and even created the first ever oral chemotherapy treatment, which is the basis of where chemotherapy came from. But after spending about 2 decades as one of the world's most important disease prevention and cancer researchers, he decided that he was going to switch gears and focus on his true passion, which was nutrition, and in advancing just the science and understanding of the role that nutrition can play in protecting and regenerating our health. And Dr. First, he understood that nutrition is so powerful, and specifically when it's made from whole foods, the stuff that we were put on this earth to eat, products that are based in nature, backed by science. And so he went on to found the Neo Life Scientific Advisory Board. We call it the SAB, and they are the reason our products are the best. The SAB has carried forward this legacy, and like we can say today, and since 60 years, that our products are created by some of the world's most respected doctors and scientists, not marketing geniuses. That's really important, an important distinguishing fact. And one example, I don't know if you've had the chance to meet Dr. Liz Applegate, who's on our SAB. She's actually the most sought after nutrition educator in the United States. Her university class has become the largest in the nation. And she's been just featured in on CNN as a health expert. Oh, my dad's calling me right now. I think his ears were burning. She's been featured on CNN, Good Morning America, ESPN, and writes for countless journals and magazines. And I don't know if you follow any of the American sports, probably not, but we have our basketball team that's in the NBA, the National Basketball Association, the Golden State Warriors. She even gives them nutrition advice. Professional athletes seek her out for their advice. And it's actually incredible just how many breakthroughs in science can be traced back to them. Even inventions like chelating amino acids, protein instantizing technology, like what makes protein shakes disperse in water, not clump up. They invented these processes, and now everyone is using them. But interesting, I find this puzzling, is that we continue to advance, but a lot of people are still catching up. And something happened a couple of years ago that really reminded me of this and was like, whoa, of just how far ahead we are, is when we looked into partnering with some third-party manufacturers a couple years ago. And we have our own manufacturing company, but we're always auditing ourselves. We want to make sure we make the best products at the best price. So we went out and we picked a few of the biggest, most highly respected third-party manufacturers. And we said, okay, here's several of our formulas. Go make them and tell us how much it costs. And we actually gave them formulas we think are pretty simple. But it wasn't too long before they came back to us and said, sorry, we don't want your business. Your products are just too complicated. They're a big pain in the butt, is what they told us. And one of them was even my dad's good friend, and they still rejected us. But a lot of our big competitors go to these producers, these manufacturers, but they told us, why don't you just do what everyone else does? Use the same ingredients that we buy in bulk, the same processes, the same technology, and make it simple. Our response was no way. We promise quality without compromise, products that work. And I have to say, part of it is selfish. I wouldn't want to take that stuff. I want the best. I know you guys do too. And I told this to a friend the other day, and she was like, wait a minute, does that mean you use more ingredients? I thought simple is better. And yes, simple is great, but the technology involved in extracting nutrients from food in a way that actually protects them and gives you quality and purity and potency, that's pretty complex. And the fact of the matter is, not all supplements are created equally. And I'm excited for us to hear more about that from Dr. Beck in a moment. But we've been in business now for 60 years. We're a worldwide nutrition company operating in over 50 countries. And our mission as a company has never been greater, because the need for better health has never been greater. And not just because of the pandemic. I think that's been a really good wake-up call to prioritize our health. But for a long time, we've been getting sicker. There's been this chronic disease epidemic happening all around us, things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, you name it. I actually just looked up the statistics for Australia and New Zealand, and they're not as bad as the US, but they're still pretty bad. I don't think it's worth showing them, because it's gotten so bad that it's become almost normal. Like, oh, I have it, you have it too, great. But it shouldn't be normal. Chronic diseases are also called diseases of lifestyle because they're largely preventable. But even people like the World Health Organization, I'll read a quote from them. They say the major causes of chronic disease are known. And if these risk factors were eliminated, at least 80% of all heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes would be prevented, and 40% of cancer would be prevented. 80%, 40%. If we eliminate these risk factors. And what are they? The three biggest ones are smoking, poor nutrition, and lack of exercise. And now I want to be really clear when I say we do not prevent or treat or cure anything, but we don't have miracle products, but we do offer good nutrition. And that is so powerful. And it's not even the diseases themselves that are the biggest problem. It's what they're stealing from us, like money, happiness, enjoyment. We're designed to live long and live well. We shouldn't be sick and tired. We should look better, feel better, live better. And if any of you are new to Neo Life and thinking like, okay, yeah, why don't I see your products in stores or in ads? And that is because that's very intentional, because we don't sell in the stores and we don't advertise, because what happens is our products are too good to sell in stores. They'll get lost in just this sea of confusion, and you end up forced to compete on price, not quality. I don't know, like, have you ever walked into a vitamin aisle at a drugstore and your eyes just like glaze over thinking, how the heck am I going to find what I'm looking for in here? Just so many different things. Instead, we're a relationship-based company where people share their experience with other people. And through our wellness community, we become your trusted partner for access to education and solutions for better health. You as promoters become your customers' trusted partner. And honestly, you are some of the best nutrition educators out there. I mean, from Dr. Du and on, it doesn't get much better than that. I'm always so impressed when I hear Dr. Du's presentations. And it's kind of strange to think about this. And please excuse me if this is not the case in Australia and New Zealand, but it's true in most countries, that those of you joining us today are going to learn more about nutrition by the end of the event than most medical doctors do in all their years of schooling. It's scary how much focus we put on treatment and band-aids to the problem, and how little focus we put on prevention and looking at the root causes of poor health. And of course, there are great doctors out there like Dr. Du and many others who find ways to get this kind of education. But in Neo Life, no matter who you are, what your background is, our goal is to give everyone the power to live healthier and happier lives. We're committed to ending the trend of poor health. And I have to say, that in itself is a massive undertaking, and we can't do it alone. And that's why we have our club member program, where customers can shop at a discount and earn free products when they refer friends. And that's also why we have a network of independent promoters who partner with us to make a difference. And it's not for everyone. It's for people who share our passion for helping others, who want to be a part of this global movement to end the trend and have their own nutrition business. And so the way it works is instead of paying advertisers and big chain retailers, we pay promoters for sharing Neo Life and offer the tools and technology and support for success. And when we think about it, like there are a lot of people who could use, I don't know, an extra $500 or $1,000 a month with a spare time or part-time business that doesn't even get in the way of their core career. I mean, the gig economy in Australia and New Zealand is booming. In Australia, it's now valued, the gig economy is now valued at $6.3 billion. It's grown ninefold, so that means 9 times between 2015 and 2019, and it's continuing at an even faster pace than ever. And that's everything from, I don't know, what we do in Neo Life to driving Ubers and delivery services and graphic designers, you name it. But the thing we offer that Uber and those other gig opportunities don't and won't is residual income. And now this is a really important point for people who recognize that there's a big opportunity out there, who catch the vision and understand that the world's biggest problems become the world's biggest business opportunities. The world's biggest problems become the world's biggest business opportunities. And so for people who really want to go for it and build a big business, they understand. And the reason they're attracted to Neo Life is because the way to build wealth is not by trading time for money. Instead, it's about making wise investments of time and money that generate income well after the work is done. Doesn't mean you stop working altogether, but you have some freedom. Take a step back from the day-to-day. You can take a day off and you don't lose your income. And we have examples of promoters around the world who have decided to build massive businesses that span multiple continents and just impact so many lives. That's what it's about at the end of the day, is the impact we can have. And a measure of that impact is the growth that we're having. And in the last 2 years, we've had double-digit growth year after year, 2 years in a row. And we've seen more new leaders and world team and president's team stepping up than ever. And yes, we have great products, but what really sets us apart are the people, the community, you guys. The other day, I read an interesting study done by a psychologist named Sheldon Cohen. And so this almost sounds fake because I can't imagine people agreeing to this, but he invited 276 healthy volunteers into his lab. And then he infected all of them with a virus. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But it's true. And so before they entered the experiment, they were asked to fill out this questionnaire. And the question he wanted to answer was this: do people's social networks affect their ability to fight the common cold? And so his findings were pretty interesting. Since germs are contagious, we assume that being around more people means we're more likely to contract an illness. But as it turns out, and by the way, this is not a comment on COVID or anything, this is just about relationships. So as it turns out, the more types of relationships a person has, the less susceptible they are to developing a full-blown cold, even after direct exposure. That's pretty amazing. The more types of relationships a person has, the less susceptible they are to developing a full-blown cold, even after direct exposure. And this was his conclusion, that when we have a wide range of relationships, it gives us a sense of psychological security that buffers us from day-to-day stress, and our bodies become better at defending themselves. We're healthier. We were designed to be connected to one another and to have this big, robust community. Knowing there are people who have your back, people you can count on, that's so powerful. And in the Neo Life family, we have your back. I know that's easy to say, but we fully intend to continue to prove it to you. And when I say this, I'm not just talking about me or the company support team, although we're very blessed to have some of the most passionate, committed, awesome team members. But I'm also talking about our promoter leaders in the field, especially you guys. You're incredible. And I feel like I have to pinch myself when I think about how blessed we truly are to be surrounded by such loving and passionate and smart and caring people in the Neo Life family. And we have a lot of fun too. And I have to say, I'm really excited to get the momentum back in the South Pacific. I know Alana and Damien, Terry Ann, and Lisa Ebony and the team are also excited for that too, and Rico. And we want to bring back the fun and lifestyle trips and retreats and vacations. And in order to do that, what we're asking for in return is for you to help us either become or identify the next generation of leaders in the South Pacific to get back the momentum, the excitement. And it is so possible. There are over 30 million people in your two countries combined. Every single one of them need what we have to offer. A relationship-based community, products that work, education, and a startup business that can truly change the health of your nation and the world. And to end the trend, if we think about it, like, what do we need to do to end the trend? We have to change the way people think, change mindsets to recognize that our health is not a lottery ticket. It's not a matter of chance. It's a matter of design. And yes, bad things happen. It's not always our fault, but that doesn't mean we should give up. There's so much hope. And this is a relatively small meeting. We'll say it, but I can't tell you how many small meetings I've been to that have resulted in so many lives being changed for the better, because all it takes is a small group who catch the vision and pass it on. Like, think about it. Every great movement throughout history has started from a small group of people who were determined to make a difference, just hell-bent to make a difference, or heaven-bent to make a difference, maybe. Together, we're going to make history. Together, we're going to be the single biggest force behind ending the trend of poor health and poverty. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, for being a part of the Neo Life family, and for just all that you've given to our family. We can't thank you enough. Love you all so much. Can't wait till I get to visit next time. And God bless you guys.
So, what did I say?